Hello everyone, David here, New View Safety Coach. It's 5 to 1 in the morning. And you know those those nights when you are lying there and sleep doesn't come all that easy because you've got a million things running through your mind and ideas. I tend to jot them down in the notepad that I keep at the side of the bed, or got a big flip chart as well that I keep down there. A few things written on there, ideas that I want to put into place over the next week or two. And my brain, it was good. I managed to get them out of my brain and I got them onto paper and I could move on. But there was these thoughts, self-reflection thoughts. I've been doing a lot of interviews recently, just finished 2 today. And I don't particularly like listening to myself. I'm sure a lot of people are the same. However, what I do is I tend to force myself to watch the YouTube videos once they're published, once they're out there, I mean, I could take it down, but once there's no going back, really, it's out there. I've told the person who's been in the interview that the video's alive and here's a link and blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm not going to take it down after that. So I watch it, and I may even watch it 2, 3 times. And it's strange. It's really strange, you know. The thoughts that are going through my mind and what I'm thinking at the time of the interview, the feelings I'm having, they don't reflect the way I come across. I don't think. I think from what I've watched and from what other people have said, I come across a lot. I have this this tendency to pause and think. I even stammer at times, which I was going to edit out, but then I thought, well, you know, that's me. I can stay in there. And I also, but the different, off track again, but the difference is in my mind, there's a lot more panic, uh, um, anxiety during these interviews than what I think comes across in my tone, pitch, affect, presentation. I'm not saying there isn't any anxiety or nervous energy that comes across. I'm just saying there's more up here than what comes across on the video. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about why that was, and why there would be any need for any nervousness anyway. For those of you who know me, know that I studied. When I left school, I went to college, and it was what we call in the UK A level, which is in between high school and university. So it's optional in the UK. And I studied drama, theatrical studies, and dance. Uh, So the being in front of people and performing, there is an inner show pony within me. However, that said, I still do, for some reason, online, even on, for uni lectures and things like that. And you won't be able to, well, hopefully you won't be able to see it, but especially for the interviews and, the start when I started doing my blog reflections. Hopefully you can't see it, but if you can, then forgive me. There's major, sweat going on. It's a case of put on a clean shirt for a 15-minute blog review, and then it goes straight in the wash afterwards. It's like, what is all that about? I mean, I don't look manic, at least I hope not, anyway. And then it dawned on me. It didn't dawn on me. It came through a bit of self-reflection and thinking about where that anxiety comes from. And it's a little bit like this video. Um, I don't script anything. I mean, I might have some bullet points and some questions that we can go to at a later time if I'm interviewing somebody, but it's very, very loose. Um, and a bit like this video, I am playing with a deck of cards here, actually from Sam Goodman. Starting point, operationally curious questions. Anyway, a bit like this video, I like to wander into the unknown and see where that leads. And while I was self-reflecting on this, I discovered that I don't know where this comes from or why I do it. I intentionally put myself in stressful positions. Intentionally. I don't think I'm going to put myself in a stressful position and then do it. I just do it. Um, that sounds strange saying it out loud, but let me give you an example. So, going over some of my interviews, I've noticed, and even, with my blog reviews as well, I've noticed I say things without knowing where that's going to lead. Almost in a way of putting myself, oh, it's almost like I'm asking myself a question without knowing the answer and then having to think of the answer. Now, I obviously enjoy it mentally. Physiologically, it appears to be quite stressful for me because my temperature goes up and I sweat and all those kind of things. But mentally, I think I enjoy it. So I'll say something like, and you may have heard me say something like, um, oh, going through a blog, that reminds me of, and then you'll hear a 2, 3 second pause, and then I'll come up with something, and then I'll say something. But what I'm actually doing is coming up with something. I don't know what I'm going to say. Or most of this video, to be honest with you, I'll give myself lead-ins, and I don't know where it comes from. I give myself a lead-in that I'll say that reminds me of something, or that's similar to, or that could be related to. Those are the worst ones. Those are the, oh, that's related to, and then I've got to come up with a factual thing that it's related to. I can't just say I can't just talk about a feeling which could be made up, which it isn't with me. But if I say, oh, that's related to, that's a whole new level of stress that really makes me scrabble around in my brain and start to think. And the bizarre thing is, I may not consciously be able to bring these facts to the forefront of my mind, um, unless I put myself in that situation of of being under the pressure of saying, here's something that it reminds me of, and I'm now going to go and find it. And it's like, ah, and it's only then when it comes to mind. If you ask me at any other time, um, you know, fact recall on the spot out of the blue isn't my forte. I'm much more in the context. I've got to be in the context of the conversation, talking about a particular thing, and then facts and previous evidence and stories will come to mind. And I'm sure it's the same with a lot of people as well. But suddenly putting myself on the spot, I don't know where that comes from. I really don't. Um, and hopefully it's not too disjointed for people while they're watching it. And I understand my pauses while I think of things can be distracting. I've had people tell me that before, and either distracting or comment from a coachee the other day. She said she particularly liked the way that I paused before I asked, or even mid question, because it proved that I wasn't just rattling off another question. I was contemplating the question. And she said it almost felt like it gave her permission as well to take time to think and to really consider her response, because um, it's what I do when I'm thinking about questions or when I'm thinking about what to say next. So okay, let's talk about that then. I may as well. I'm not sleeping at the moment. So why do I pause so much? And um, so okay, just then I had three different answers come into my head, and I had to look at them and select one and go, okay, well, that is the appropriate answer for this situation. And that's the one I just gave you. Uh, yeah. So it's a it's generally me going through the multiple options that I could give and selecting an appropriate one. And it's not always right. I'm not saying it's right. It's very often not right, but it's my way. It's it's me. Um, See, even with that pause in, I had some options in my mind, and I thought I could give them, but then I was also thinking, well, are they? Could they be misconstrued? How would they be misconstrued? Um, well, I thought one of the options could potentially make me sound arrogant. Another option could make me sound stupid. This option I'm giving now is probably the best of the two options. Three options that I had, and this being the third, um, was just to tell you what I was thinking. So, and that's a default. That appears to be a default for me, which is, look, I could ruminate all day and think about uh, the options and not say anything. I think I used to do that a lot when I was younger. Um, spend too long thinking about the available options and what impact that would have on me, and what how other people would interpret it, and what impact that might have on, you know, in a week's time or 2 weeks' time. Um, Whereas now, I mean, God, there's only so much you can do there. You burn yourself out, and I think I did quite a few times, just trying to um, imagine every possible scenario that could come from something that you would say or something that you would do. So now I try to, if I can't select the right what I think is the right thing to say, then I express the fact that I can't think of the right thing to say. How do we end up here? What was I was talking about interviews, wasn't I? And how I talk myself into silly situations. And here we are. We're in a silly situation with me at stupid o'clock in the morning, not being able to sleep, talking about silly things. But and I, this is in the description of my channel, so you can't blame me for this. I said, the purpose for this is to help me get things out of my head, process them. Helping me sleep is one of those things. Oh, that was something that I was thinking of earlier on as well. Um, Another reason why I tend not to script things, and I don't like, regardless of my theatrical training and acting when I was younger, I really don't like rehearsing. So if I create a presentation, I'm loath to go through it. I know there's a school of thought. I know there's a school of thought, which is go through it, understand what the next slide's going to be, where you want to go, say what you want to say it again, all that kind of jazz. I get it. I know all that. But there's so many times where I've given a presentation that I haven't rehearsed, or given a talk, given a speech, whatever it is. And it's the first time I've delivered it. And it was, in my mind, which has debatable taste, let's be honest, in my mind, was great because it had that level of uncertainty. Where's this going to go? I don't know. I've never delivered this before. Let's go out there and do it fresh. And as opposed to, and I know this isn't as black and white as what it appears in real life, as opposed to the over-rehearsed, scripted, predictable way. There is, if you don't rehearse, there's that nervous energy. There's that, and that's right. That's where I wanted to go with this. There's a model, Dunning-Kruger effect. I'm not going to go into the details now. Needless to say, it's a graph, XY graph. On the x-axis, you've got time. On the y-axis, I hope I've got them the right way around as well, by the way. On the y-axis, you've got x-axis, you've got time and confidence. Y-axis, you've got experience. And their theory goes, did I get that the right way around? It's too early in the morning for me to be thinking about this. No, y-axis is confidence. Really messing this up. Apologies. Y-axis, I hope that's right as well. Y-axis is confidence. X-axis is experience and time. So the theory goes, the less experience you have, the higher your confidence, because the less you know. So when you first start out in something, your experience, your confidence can be high. And the more you learn about it, the more your confidence drops off. Because, well, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. That's the double-edged sword of learning about anything. So, no experience, high confidence. And we all know these people. These people are the, oh yeah, I've seen a YouTube video, now I know how to take an engine out of the car, and I can do that in half an hour, and blah, blah, blah. No experience, high confidence. The more you learn, the less experience you have. the less confidence you have, but the more experience you have, and eventually over time, your confidence starts to go back up. Interestingly though, according to the model, your confidence, even if you're like a double PhD grad, 30 years experience in the industry, specialized industry, whatever it is, even at that point, your confidence is still not as high as what it originally was when you first started out. Now, why am I telling you this? Because that's similar to the way I feel about presentations and about things like these videos and how I blunder into conversations blindly. It's that the initial high of the confidence, because you don't know anything about what you're going to talk about, your confidence is high. It's only when you in my mind, over practice, over rehearse, that your confidence dips. Anyway, that's what this whole Waffle On playlist was about. Me getting crap out of my brain at certain times of day so that hopefully I can go back to bed and sleep and not have to think about these things anymore. Good night, everyone.